Welcome back to today's news. The US is about to impose major reciprocal tariffs, targeting key industries like steel, aluminum, and automobiles. The EU is preparing to strike back, while the UK is opting for negotiations. What's at stake, and how could this reshape global trade? Let's dive deep into the details. Trade disputes between the US and its allies are nothing new. Under Trump's presidency, the US launched aggressive tariff measures against China, the EU, and even Canada. In 2018, he imposed heavy tariffs on European steel and aluminum, triggering retaliatory measures from the EU. Trump's 2018 tariffs. The EU retaliated with tariffs on US whiskey, motorcycles, and agricultural products. US-China trade war. Massive tariffs led to global supply chain disruptions. Brexit and trade shifts. The UK, after leaving the EU, had to renegotiate trade deals, making it more vulnerable in global disputes. So, what makes this round of tariffs different? This time, the EU and UK are responding in very different ways. The European Union isn't taking Trump's tariffs lightly. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has stated that the bloc is prepared to retaliate if necessary. The EU is diversifying its trade partnerships, strengthening deals with India and other nations. Brussels is doubling down on the EU single market to reduce dependence on the US. Talks with India for a free trade agreement are being prioritized. By strengthening trade with India and other global partners, the EU aims to reduce its reliance on US imports while still maintaining economic stability. Meanwhile, the UK is taking a different approach. With economic challenges at home, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is avoiding immediate retaliation and instead hopes for a quick trade deal with the US. The UK economy is already struggling with inflation and slow growth. Unlike the EU, the UK lacks economic leverage post-Brexit. The UK government sees this as an opportunity to strengthen US trade ties. However, critics argue that this approach leaves the UK vulnerable. Without a strong response, will the US take British concerns seriously in negotiations? Now, let's talk numbers. How will these tariffs impact industries and consumers in the EU, UK, and US? For the EU, retaliatory tariffs could hit US exports to Europe, but industries like steel and auto manufacturing might suffer. For the UK, if a trade deal with the US isn't secured, British manufacturers could struggle with higher costs. For the US, tariffs may protect some domestic industries, but will likely lead to higher prices for American consumers. Many experts warn that protectionist policies rarely benefit the global economy. Instead, they lead to higher costs, disrupted supply chains, and economic uncertainty. Beyond economics, these tariffs are also about political positioning. Trump's America First strategy plays well domestically, especially in an election year. But how will the EU and UK's responses affect their own political landscapes? Trump's election strategy, a tough trade stance, could rally his voter base. EU's internal politics. Von der Leyen wants to show strength in negotiations. UK's post-Brexit reality. Starmer needs to balance economic priorities with maintaining strong US ties. The question is, who is making the smarter move? Will the EU's tough stance pay off, or will the UK's negotiation approach prove more effective? Looking ahead, this trade dispute could have long-term consequences. Here are some key possibilities. Escalation. If the US and EU engage in a full-scale trade war, global markets could suffer. Compromise. The UK's approach might lead to a softer trade deal. New alliances. The EU's outreach to India and other nations could shift global trade dynamics. One thing is clear, the next few months will be crucial. Will this be another round of economic turmoil, or will cooler heads prevail? Let us know what you think in the comments. That's all for today's in-depth analysis of the EU-UK trade war. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates on global trade and economics.